Most beautiful design of clever mind, your birth, just like a god's I celebrate. When born upon a potter's turning wheel, your nostrils shed a light fit for the sun. Send out the signs of fire that we had agreed. Yes, you alone are privy to our deeds, when in our bedrooms all we women move in Aphrodite's twists, and you stand near. As bodies writhe and bend, your eyes there to look on all, and you never get removed. You alone see what lies hidden between our thighs, and there to singe our bushy hairs. Or when, for food or juice of grape we steal, you serve us well, yet never blab a word to our neighbors, so, in return, I will share with you the secrets that my friends and I had made at the Skira. But not a single woman is here on time. It's getting close to dawn, and the assembly starts soon, and we've got to find good seats and sneak in without attracting any notice. What the hell has held them all up? Perhaps they couldn't get a hold of the cloaks that I asked for them to bring, or maybe getting a hold of a woolen beard proved too difficult for them. I see a lamp approaching. I'd better step back in case it's a man.
We'd better hurry up. Just now I've heard the herald's voice crow out a second time.
I've been up and waiting for you to come right through the night. But you're here, and now I'd better call my neighbor with a tap on the door. Her husband mustn't be disturbed.
Ooh, Praxagor, I wasn't asleep. It's my husband. She was fucking me all night long. I just managed to get his cloak right now.
I don't want to have to hear that. Here come the women and they're our friends. I recognize their faces.
Oh, well, hurry up there. You know an oath was sworn. The last of us to arrive would pay a fine. 9 liters of wine and a bag of chickpeas, too. Do you see that woman over there? Isn't that old Thingamy's wife? She's running in her husband's shoes.
But surely with a husband like him, she can't be up all night.
Isn't that the publican's wife? Oh, that naughty girl.
Oh, and I see many other familiar faces. And many other women. It looks as though we're turning out in force.
Come on, we've got to get serious. The assembly at which we decided to attend starts its meeting once the Dons arrived. All right. Have you all done what we've decided at the Skira?
Well, I certainly have.
I've let my armpits grow far shaggier than a bush, just as we've agreed, and whenever my husband would go to the agora, I would lather myself in oil and stand in the sun all day trying to get a tan.
Me too. I actually threw in my razor to guarantee I'll grow hair all over my body and I'll lose trace of all femininity.
Yes, and tell me about these beards.
Oh, not half by Hecate.
Oh.
Look at this beauty here.
Come on, mine is better than yours.
And the rest of you?
They have them. Look, they're nodding.
Ah, wonderful. I can see you've all made the preparations we decided at the Skiera. All right, let us practice. Here's this garland. Official purifier, carry the cat. Stand forward, people. Aristophanes, stop talking. You come to the front for a seat. Who wishes to speak?
I do.
Here, take this garland for good luck. All right, now come to the front, speak.
All right. All right. Before I've had a drink?
A drink?
Well, surely they drink there too.
Ah, away with you. You would have made this gaff in the real assembly.
No, I swear, they really do. And it's unmixed too. Well, think of their decisions. The things they bring themselves to do. Their craziness suggests inebriation. And what's more, they're always pouring out libations. Why else if not to help themselves to a glass of wine? And then, and then the archers have to carry the worst ones out, and they swap abuse just like real drunks.
I have just had enough of you. Sit down.
My God, I wish I'd never put on that stupid beard.
Ah, does another woman wish to speak?
I do.
All right, take this garland. Come on, we've got to start pressing ahead. Make sure you speak in your good, deep, masculine voice and lean stylishly upon your stick.
Citizens of Athens, I now declare that all pubs and bars in Athens should serve only milk. By Aphrodite, I swear.
An oath by Aphrodite? Are you mad?
Come on, at least I didn't ask for a drink.
That's true, but you swore by an oath that no man would ever use, although the rest of your speech was quite a skillful piece.
All right then, now I know what to do.
All right.
By Apollo, I swear, assembled women!
You would address the men as women?
Oh, come on, there's so many gay men in the audience.
So?
I thought I was speaking to women.
Give me this garland. I'll take it and I'll speak myself. I call upon the gods to send success and fortune to my plans. This land belongs to you as well as me, my fellow citizens. I am vexed and I am grieved at the state of affairs that our city is in. I notice how she always has rotten leaders. If he's good for one day, he'll be rotten for 10, and they just keep getting worse. And yet, you shy away from those who wish you well and turn to those who wish you ill. How's that?
By Aphrodite.
An oath by Aphrodite? What would have happened if you had made this gaffe in the real assembly?
Well, I wouldn't have said it there.
Then don't say it now.
Quite astute.
Ah, now that's the way to praise.
Let's hear some more, good chap.
All right. Women's traits are far superior than ours, as I will explain. For one thing, they have maintained the same way of combing wool. For years and years, you will never find them trying to innovate. Contrast that with the way that our city is run. If something old is all right, never mind. It'll be replaced by some new novel scheme, but our women sit and cook. They always have. They drink their wine, they always have. They go to the market, they always have. They bake their pastry cakes, they always have. They keep adulterers hidden, they always have. They hide our rations, they always have. And, most importantly, they really love being fucked, they always have. So, men of Athens, let us halt debate and turn the city over to our women. For we know two things. As mothers of our sons, they will want to send food overseas for battle to boost morale. Women are excellent at gathering resources. And they will never be deceitful, for they are masters of deceit themselves. I'll speak no more. But if my plan is to be followed, our city will be prosperous for all.
Oh, darling Praxagora, where on earth did you learn such rhetoric skills?
In the war, I lived with my husband on the Pinks, and we would listen to the rhetoric speakers, and I would learn their words.
Well, this explains how you gave such a terribly clever speech. We women would now like to elect you on the spot to be our general and carry forth our plans. But there's just one thing. What if confounded Cephalus should shout abuse at the meeting?
I'll tell him his mind's all muddled.
Oh, but everyone knows that already.
Then I'll say that he's demented.
Oh, they know that too.
Then I'll say that his pottery is dreadful stuff, and that his politics are potty.
But what if that bloody Neoclides start to abuse you?
Then I'll tell him he should squint up a dog's backside.
But what if people start to shout and heckle?
Oh, I'll love every minute. You know I'm used to being knocked.
But what if they try and physically grab you?
Then I'll take my arms around my waist like this, and they'll never be able to grab me.
All right, well, it sounds as though we've planned for all contingencies. But there's just one more thing we must discuss, and this is that we must vote with our arms and not our legs as we are so accustomed to raising.
Yes. That might prove problematic. It's best that we vote with one arm outside of our cloaks, and no one will notice that we are women. Yes. All right, well, the dawn has risen and the assembly is about to start. Don your shoes and don your cloaks and fasten your beards. Let us go, and let's sing a folk song like the country women do.
Yes, we must go now so that we meet the country women that have already left.
Yes, we must, for it is well known that the last man to arrive at the Pinks must slink home with nothing at all to show.
Let's get to the assembly, fellow men. The Archon has made a threat. Unless you're there at dawn and can show the dust on your feet with a breakfast of garlic inside you and a sour old look on your face, you won't get your 3 obols pay. So come on now, old greybeards. We really must rattle along. Be sure keep pace with me. You must be on your guard. We can't afford wrong notes. You must maintain the show. And when we've got our tickets, ensure we sit together to vote almost safe for measures proposed by fellow women. Oh dear, what am I saying? I meant our fellow men. Be sure to push aside these urban folk before, when the pay was low, just a single obol in fact, they'd sit there in the market by the garland markers' stalls to gossip the whole day long. But now they come crowding in here. It was different in the old days. Meronides was general, a man of finest stock. Then no one got a payment for running the city's affairs. No, people would come along with a flask of wine and some bread, 2 onions and maybe 3 olives. These days they come for the money. 3 obols is all they want. They've turned this public service into a laborer's job.
Good morning, Praxagora. Praxagora. What the hell is going on here? Where is my wife? Oh, I gotta take a shit. I've been up for hours, needing this shit. The dumb collector kept knocking, which is why I had to put on my wife's gown. Ah, yes. But where am I gonna take that shit? Oh, perhaps it won't matter. As late as this. No one's gonna see me. What a wretched fool I was to take a wife at my great age. Last time she was missing like this, she was having a liaison with a local professor. Surely she's off committing mischief again.
Lapiras. Yo, the guy from next door.
I'm afraid it's me, alright.
What's going on with you? What's this bucket? This women's... Okay, I will explain mine later, but what's this women's clothing on you? What are you doing here?
Nothing. I Just woke up and I came outside.
Where's your cloak?
Oh, I haven't the faintest idea. I just can't find it.
I mean, come on, just go and tell your wife to find it for you. It's how it works in my household.
Some would hope. I haven't seen her all morning. I looked in the bathroom, downstairs, even the kitchen, and she wasn't in the kitchen.
Well, I don't know what's happening in this city. I got to tell you, in my house, the same thing happened tonight. My wife disappears. Okay, fine, let her disappear, but she takes away my shoes, she takes away my cloak, and I can't find it anywhere. Have you got any idea what's happening to our city?
By Dionysus. Your story sounds exactly like mine. I woke up, couldn't find my shoes, but I needed to shit. I don't know.
No.
But our wives, surely, they're not just off at breakfast with a friend.
Well, yours is surely not. Yes, I can imagine things, but this is not about just your wife. Like, it would be easy to solve. Like, yeah, sure, she's cheating, fine. We're used to that. But it's also mine, and it's like, is this something I have to put up with? Like, is this regularly happening in your city? Like, I suppose it's not. It's not normal. We have to. Okay, you know what? I'll go and see what's going on at the assembly. Maybe I'll find something out. Are you coming?
Yes, that's a good idea. I'll be there as soon as I ease myself.
There must be some blockage down there, sure.
Oh.
Well, now that's nice, sweetie.
Oh, it's no use. It's not coming out. Somebody, call a doctor. But which? I need one that's truly trained in anal matters. Dr. Regling, yes. She might deny it. Dr. Phil, someone, yeah. By the clones that he makes, he really knows the meaning of an ass that means to shit. Oh, dare I say it, even Etheria, goddess of childbirth. Please don't leave me bolted up like some sort of a comic chamber pot.
Hey, you! Oh, surely you're not shitting, are you?
Of course not. I've just woken up and I can't.
Is that your wife's little dress I see you're wearing?
Oh, fuck. It's all I could find in the dark this morning. But please, come help me out and tell me where you've been.
The assembly meeting, I think I'm alright. There's fucking wretched stank here.
Is it over?
It was over soon after dawn, and Zeus above, you should have seen the mirth of people smeared by the crimson robe.
Oh, the crimson robe is smearing again. But tell me, old friend, did you manage to get your pay?
Yes. No, sorry, I arrived late, and I feel a little ashamed.
There's no need to feel that way. Although you probably starve. But tell me, what caused things to throng up in such a good time?
A massive crowd of people, unprecedented horde that filled the pinks. In fact, when we looked at them, it really begged belief to see so many white faces that filled the assembly. We started comparing them to the cobblers.
And go on.
Well, the city put down on the agenda the city's preservation. And straight away, bleary-eyed Neoclides sidles up to the Russian. And you can imagine how the people would shriek. It's scandalous that he should speak when the subject is the city's preservation. He barely knows how to preserve his own eyesight. And to that he just mumbled, "Well, what am I to do?"
Is that all? Oh, I would have taken a nice list of ingredients to mix them, like some olives maybe, and put them on his face. Yes, this would be a good solution. If I had been there, this would have been my proposal.
Next, Yuan, this brilliant fellow, got up to the Russian, without a cloak, or so it seemed to us, but he assured us that he had one on. His speech was full of these populist arguments. You see, I'm in need of preservation. I need some decent clothes. Nevertheless, I will tell you how to save all of Athens. If the needy were given cloaks every winter, you would find that no one suffered from pleurisy. And those who do not have beds or blankets must wash and go and spend the night in the tanner shops. Any tanner who disagrees every winter must pay a 3-cloak fine.
Ah, what excellent proposals! No, another good suggestion might have been all the grain retailers have to provide food for those who are hungry, yes, or else they'll be thrashed.
Next, a very young, handsome man with a white face, he got up and he started shouting his praise for women. To this thunderous applause, mainly from the horde of cobblers, that is. Most of the country folk, they just rumbled dissent.
Quite right too, by Zeus.
But they lacked the numbers. And he kept on shouting this praise for women. And to more and more applause. Well, that and calling you abusive names.
Abusive names, like what?
Well, first off, a rogue.
Oh, despicable. And you?
Please let me finish. Secondly, a thief.
A thief?
And furthermore, an informer.
Me?
Yes, you and every man, Jack. Yes, all of you as well.
Who could disagree with that?
A woman's head, he said, is filled with sense and ideas for making money. They never leak the secrets of the Thesmorphia, whereas you and I, we can barely be trusted. We constantly leak council business.
Oh, yes, we do.
Secondly, he said our women, they lend each other things like cups and clothes, jewelry, things like this. Informally, no witnesses involved, and yet they never cheat. Please keep your distance. They never cheat, and they always give them back. Most of we steal everything.
Oh, we even cheat in front of our witnesses.
Finally, he kept on shouting this praise for women, and he ended up saying that they never bring prosecutions, they never lie, and they never try to destroy democracy, and much besides.
Oh, I have one fear about when women take power.
I mean, but they have. That's the only thing the assembly gave them the power.
Right, but let's say the women force us to have sex with them.
But force us? What if we just can't manage?
And they won't give us breakfast, premise.
Then we better comply,
Oh.
so that we get both sex and breakfast.
No, my friend. Compulsory sex is a horrible thing.
But if it is good for the city, then it must be the duty of every man.
Well, then I think there's truth in the old saying we have here in Athens. No matter what foolish plans we make, they always work out for the best.
I pray to Athena and all the gods you're right. Either way, I must be off. Keep well.
I must be off too, Crimus.
March on. Proceed. Let's check to see if any man is following in our tracks. Turn round and look. Pay close attention all the time. The rogues are everywhere. Beware in case someone should creep behind and see we're out. While walking on, be sure to stamp the ground with both your feet. What shame we all would have to face if ever our design should be exposed among our husbands. So stick together in close ranks and keep your eyes peeled all around, this way and that, to left and right. We can't afford to see our plan collapse into disaster. Let's hurry on. There isn't far to go to reach the spot from which we first set out to make our way to the assembly. Not far ahead, you see the house belonging to our general, the woman who devised this plan that's won the citizens' votes. We've every reason, then, to start removing our disguise. We mustn't tarry wearing beards, in case we're seen in full daylight and soon informed against. So move across into the shade, provided by this nearby wall, and while still glancing round about, convert yourselves, each one of you, into your female state. Act quickly now. I see our general coming down the street. She's on her way back home, of course, returning from the assembly. Each one of us must hastily remove her shaggy beard. These cheeks of ours have long been chafing under this disguise.
What great success that we've had today. Things have turned out exactly as we've planned. But now, we must act quickly. Remove your cloaks and remove your shoes and remove your beards. I must sneak inside before my husband sees me. But you two, don't leave. I'll need advice to the office to which I have found myself elected. In the assembly's noise and fury, you both have proved your worth.
Praxagora? Where the hell have you been?
What's it to you, leprous?
What's it to me? Oh, how cool!
Oh, surely you won't accuse me of taking another lover.
Perhaps not just one.
Oh, well, you're free to check.
But how?
Smell my hair for any trace of scent.
What, a woman can't have sex without a smell?
I can't, more's the pity.
Oh, but where have you been?
I was sent for in the middle of the night by a friend of mine who was giving birth.
And you left without telling me first?
Instead of showing concern for the suffering mother?
Oh, but after informing me, something's not right here.
There isn't, I swear. I left without ado because a mother's message requested me to go without delay. I didn't have time to say goodbye to you.
But you stripped off my cloak instead of wearing your own. You acted like I was dead to you. You treated me like a corpse, but you forgot the wreath, and you forgot the funeral flag.
Leprous! Leprous, it was cold outside. The air was chilly, and
I hate you.
warm. Leprous, you, my husband, were warm and snug when I left the house. Come on.
Why did you take my stick? And why did you take my boots?
I wanted to imitate you. I wanted to scare away muggers who would take this beautiful cloak. I needed to stomp my stick on the ground and drag your shoes along. Honey, come on.
Oh, do you remember the 3 bags of wheat you lost last week? I could have paid for them if I was at the assembly.
Honey, never mind that. The news was good. It was a baby boy.
The assembly had a baby?
The mother, of course, but has there been an assembly?
Of course, I mentioned it yesterday. You haven't heard?
Of course not.
You don't know about the decision?
I don't.
Get ready for some special news.
All right.
They've decided to hand the city, our beloved Athens, to women!
To weave its clothes?
No, to be in charge
Of what?
of every single decision that the city makes.
Leprous by Aphrodite, this means that the city's future is a happy one.
What?
No longer will people be free to harm this city. There'll be an end to the bribing of witnesses as well as to informing.
No, don't do this. Don't deprive me of my living.
Please, let your wife speak.
An end to anger, an end to envy, an end to paupers walking around half naked, an end to abuse, an end to injustice.
These are immense improvements. If she's right.
Sounds like horseshit.
I'll prove you right, and then even he won't be able to contradict my claims.
Now concentrate your mind. Rouse philosophical thoughts. Your female friends depend on your intelligence. Amid prosperity that's shared by all, your eloquent tongue will glorify the citizens to whom you bring such countless benefits. It's now or never. Show your worth. The city needs a brilliant new invention. Make sure your plans are quite original in word and deed. This audience hates to see old stuff served up again. Proceed at once and get to grips explaining your intentions. To keep things moving quickly always pleases these spectators.
Now, I certainly have no qualms about my case, but it's the audience that's my fear. Will they accept my innovations instead of sticking to the same familiar repertoire?
If it's innovations you're so concerned about, you have nothing to fear. There's one thing we love. It's abandoning tradition.
Then please don't shout, or try to interrupt or heckle until you've heard my case and until you understand it. My plan is that things in this city will now be shared by all. We must abolish rich and poor, with one man owning lots of farmland up the street while another owes none, with one man owning slaves and another owns none. It is high time that this city takes from a common resource.
But But how? How be shared?
Oh, you'd even be the first to eat the dung, leprous.
What does that mean? And furthermore, is it the dung that which we share?
So what? Don't interrupt.
Oh,
I was just about to tell you that the city's land and silver, as well as private property, will now belong to our common fund. And we women will use this fund to feed our population, as well as control budget and expenditure circumspectly.
But say that someone owns other kinds of wealth, not land, like gold and silver coins. How do we account for that?
yes.
Well, he'll have to add them to the pool. He'll only escape unless he lies.
Ah, but lies is exactly how he became wealthy.
Even so, he'll be no better off.
Why not?
Well, hoarding wealth won't be necessary anymore. Everyone will have enough of fish and cakes and cheese and wine and bread and, of course, chickpeas.
But as it stands now, it's the rich who steal to boost their wealth.
Ah, that used to be the case, my friend, when previous laws applied, but now that our lives are communist, withholding wealth won't pay.
Let's say that a man meets a woman,
All right.
and they like to poke her fire a bit, right? Now he's going to pay for this from his private wealth, and then return to enjoying the common good.
Oh, quite on the contrary, leprous, for sex will now be free. Yes, both for making love and for bearing of one's child.
What? The prettiest ones. Isn't it them who the men will want to bang?
Well, the pretty ones will have to sit beside the ugly ones. Before a man can be with a beautiful one, he'll have to sleep with a vile one first. All right, dear leprous.
Aristocrates' revolting nose will look quite pleased then.
I'm sure it will, because what's more, my plan is a plan for our common people. They'll get a chance to cock a snook at swanks with signet rings while shouting, "Hey, wait your turn. You'll get to go when I finished my business."
But once we live like you described, how will we know who our children are?
Ah, why care? Children will consider all men that have reached a certain age as being their own fathers. Anything else, Leprous?
Well, no, I was just thinking. If these women are able to have sex with any man they want,
Right?
what's just going to stop them all from having sex with me?
I doubt that anyone will fight over you, Leprous dear. You needn't worry about that.
Huh? Oh, why?
Because impotence is just your natural state.
Oh, yeah? Your plan makes a lot of sense to a woman. But you've hardly considered the men. Oh, won't it be the most handsome of the men that the women want to have sex with first?
Well, the lousy ones will have to track the handsome ones each evening. They'll follow their every footsteps. They'll stalk them. They'll watch them. Before a woman can have access to a tall, handsome one, she'll have to sleep with the little ugly fellows.
But who will work their land?
The slaves, dear Crimes, and your only concern will be to getting to dinner on time.
What about cloaks? This is another present.
You'll keep the one that you have for now, and we women will weave you more.
I have one more question. What about fines incurred in courts of law?
Well, there needn't be any more need for law courts.
You'll soon regret that statement,
That's my view too.
Then
bird brain.
tell me, men, why the law courts still be needed.
For lots of reasons. I'll explain slowly for you. To begin, how would you handle a debtor who refused to pay?
How lend, Leprous, when all belongs to a common fund?
That's a good-ass response.
No, hardly satisfies. How are we going to settle the typical after-dinner brawl?
Well, the offenders will forfeit some of their meal, and the price that their bellies pay will more than teach them their lesson.
I want the muggers still steal cloaks.
Not if they sleep at home. And why would you steal a cloak when the common fund will provide you with a newer, better one?
That's not bad, but what about the dice games?
What stakes even be involved?
Oh, well, what life are you offering me?
A life that is shared by all, Leprous. I'm turning this city into a common dwellings place, and you can come and go just as you please.
Where are you going to serve dinner?
I'm converting the law courts and the stoas for this exact purpose.
Oh, you got it all figured out.
I do.
What are you going to do with the podium?
For bowls of wine and for bowls of water, my dear husband. And I'll make the little boys sing poetry, and they'll count tales of the brave and of the heroes, and the cowards will be too ashamed that they won't even come to the meals.
Okay, well, where are you going to put the rats? The rats.
In the agora.
Well, I would have never thought of that.
Any other questions? Well, such crimes will be banished from this city, men, And after these feasts, once everyone is fully fed and nicely drunk, they will leave in a state of revelry. And as you walk along the streets, the women will solicit you, calling, "Hey, I've got a girl over here who's ready for you," while in the windows above, another will shout, "Hey, I've got a girl here who's gorgeous and white, but before you can have her, you'll have to have me first." Meanwhile, the old men will walk next to the young ones, holding back, saying, "There's no need for you to rush along. The law now states that it's the ugly ones that get first fuck. So perhaps you ought to wait outside and pass your time with a double-handed wank." Are you both satisfied?
Not half.
Well, it doesn't matter because I'm needed in the assembly now. Because these are my obligations, I hold office, and I've got to organize a feast so that both of you can have your first meals today.
Feast? Would this feast be beginning immediately?
Ah, of course.
Oh, come back, Praxagora. I think I'll come with you. I would love to hear all the Athenians say, "There goes our splendid lady general and her lovely husband." Oh!
I'd better go too. I need to see what assets I have so I can take it into the agora.
Everybody ought to have a everybody ought to have a everybody ought to have a working girl. Everybody ought to have a loving girl to touch around the house. Everybody ought to have a everybody ought to have a everybody ought to have a meal consistently congenial and quite than a mouse.
All right, come now, slaves. Many a morning have I heard you, my dear. One of my favorites. Many a morning have I heard you wake me with your beautiful song, but now I need you to make yourself slightly fucking useful, because we need to take my things into the agora. Okay, ladies, and my other slaves as well, I won't exclude you, but it's time to bring my things in. We must rally all these things. I know it's a lot. I'm a wealthy man, but this is the law now, and we must abide. And now you, please, can you go and get some olive branches, some water, some flasks of oil? It's time to begin. Let the riffraff join us.
Women. I don't know. First they disappear, and like, I could get used to that, I'm fine. But then they come back, and they invent communism. What am I supposed to do? Like, I'm supposed to take in all my goods, I sweat it and stink it for throughout my life. No sensible people would do that. I'm saying no sensible people, but what about that guy? Let's just ask him, what's this household stuff you've gathered here? Are you moving houses?
No, not at all. These are my things. I'm taking them into the agora.
And yeah, I'm telling you, like, this is the single most naive guy I've ever seen in the city.
Well, why do you say that?
Like, because you're just do whatever you're told.
Well, I mean, it's the law now. Come on, man, it's the law.
Fine. Do you think sensible people just do whatever they're told?
I certainly do. I mean,
Yeah, and
look
that's
at me.
see, that's what I'm talking about. See, do you know? Okay, I will tell you about an interesting place, Athens, ETHENS. Have you heard about it?
Of course, I've lived here my whole life.
Have you seen the people living in it?
Are you stupid? I just told you I lived here my whole life.
Okay, so the point is, have you seen them being generous? Have you seen them giving things just because they are so generous and they bring all their stuff to the... Do you think the majority will bring their stuff into the agora?
Of course, you can hear them saying so in the streets.
No doubt.
Really, I mean, just look around. You can see it.
Do you remember what happened last time when we were so enthusiastic about voting in the assembly? Do you remember, for example, do you remember when we voted on the price of salt? What was the law on the price of salt?
Well, they mentioned a decrease, but yeah.
Well, yeah. Doesn't really matter. Yeah. Do you remember Euripides, the state accountant who proposed that tax? And we all took an oath that we would swear 500 talents. And we showered him in praise. And what's going on now? 500 talents, nowhere. Euripides, nowhere. Why would it be different now?
Well, I mean, now the women are in charge, and you need to have a little bit more faith in this women.
Faith, yeah, that's my strong suit. Come on, I don't even care anymore. Do whatever you want. I'll just give it a little more time. Like for time.
Listen, there's no point in this. You really should have more faith. And I'll just say this. I really hate your skeptical tone of voice.
Sure.
Anyway, you're the one who will suffer from this. While you sit here being skeptical, I will be eating dinner and finding lots of lovely ladies to please all the cremies. So, take your time. I will be taking mine. Ladies, to the agora!
The guy doesn't know the city, doesn't know people. Like, it's fine, but he doesn't even know me. Like, he supposes that I can't just sneak into dinner without taking interviews. So, sorry guys, I'm getting hungry.
Hello! Hello! I am a hunter, she wanted to see me gun. When I pull it out, boy, the woman start to run. I am a hunter, she wanted to see me gun. When I pull it out, boy, the woman start to run. She begged me to see it, she begged me to show it. But when I reveal it, she want to run and hide. She begged me to see it, she begged me to show it. But when I reveal it, she want to run and hide.
What's keeping the men? They should have arrived long ago, and here I am, my face all plastered white, standing by my door in this yellow chiffon dress. Oh, I have nothing to do but hum myself a tune in hopes of catching a man as he passes by. Oh, muses, come to my lips and help me find a sexy Ionian song. La 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 la. Huh? What are you up to, Grandma? I didn't know that they let children out at this hour. This, don't you know, darling, this is old lady turf. The playground is over there.
Listen, sweetie. My mom's not home, and my boyfriend's coming. So we're gonna have hot sex on my waterbed. And I'd like you to clear out so he doesn't get nauseous. How's that?
I'm sorry, darling. This old woman turf. We're older than you.
You want to rap?
When you're as old as I, is anyone as old as I? What difference does it make? When an offer comes, you take. When I was a girl, my mother would say, you have a crush on Jerome from the assembly. So what? If I've been through all that, and I've been through all that, then there's something that you should hear. Now, Piper, darling, drop a tune that suits both you and me.
Drop a beat! Your pussy smells like fish, rank and nasty. My pussy tastes like cheese, camembert. This bitch fancy. I got gourmet cuisine, always cooking. Those men you want, they're always looking.
Aren't you that girl, High Priestess's daughter? Oh, wait till she hears you snuck out again just to have another man. And then you'll be like a hen. Oh!
Your boobs are sagging, sweeping the floor. You won't end up shagging my man, you whore.
Just be sure not to be too loud and green, or else all of Athens will hear you scream.
I'm fresh. I'm hot. You pretty bitch, you thought. I got a hot man and he's ready to go. Sorry, but you can't watch, ho.
Don't you know, darling? Young is out and old is in, so why don't you just go back home and sit this one in?
Do you really think you're gonna seduce me with this cosmetics? What is that, Fugly Bitch by Mac?
No.
Listen, I can hear my boyfriend moaning my name from blocks away, so I'm gonna go inside and let him sing it.
I'm sure he's waiting for me. I'll go. I still have my pride.
No, that was some feast. Oh, some feast, am I right? Let me tell you, when your belly is full and you got a bit of wine in you, the lust starts to grow strong. And when a man wants, So let me just quickly call on my darling, my little honey bee. What's going on, baby?
Hey, sexy.
Oh, if you are feeling as good as you look, my, you are feeling good.
Do I taste as good as I look?
I don't know yet.
Let's drop the meat together. Hey, get in my house. Make my waterbed move up and down. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Let's copulate. Come on, baby, let's procreate. I've been waiting so long, so don't be late. Come on in and sit on my face. I'll drop you one.
How you doing, baby? I know you're frisky. You could wait all day just to get busy. Also, you know I got stamina. Don't worry, baby. I'm not gonna marry you. Oh yes, I'm coming for love. Get ready, baby. I'm going in. No glove. Yeah, you alright? What's wrong?
I think you're getting a little emotionally attached.
Emotionally attached? I just said I wasn't gonna marry you.
You're so clingy. We had to talk about this.
Babe, come on. My honey bee. I'm just a flower. I'm just a little flower, and it's time for me to be pollinated. Come on, my honey bee. You know, it's fine. It's fine. My lust is running strong. I can wait here all night. Really, I mean, what's stopping me? I'm patient. I can wait.
You know! Weren't you knocking on my door?
I know. I think I was knocking on my girlfriend.
Oh, you're so sweet!
I'm really horrible.
Oh, don't you know there's a new law in town? We women get to take care of the money. And the decree says, before you sleep with a younger woman, you have to sleep with an older one first!
I really don't remember reading that.
No, you're so sweet!
I'm not.
Oh,
Stop. Oh, okay. Listen. I think you made a mistake. Someone else is dealing with your case. I'm dealing with strictly under 20.
Get your dirty paws off my boyfriend.
No, not you two.
So
no,
weak.
no. Go get this. Go to your mother. Oh my God. No.
Oh, darling, come on. This is prime that you helped me. And now, I must repay you for this help you've given me. Your reward will be long and thick. Come on. Honeybee?
Hello, young man. Do you know that you're breaking the law?
I was unaware of that. But please, keep your distance. You are really quite frightening.
I'm bringing you home. Before you fuck that girl, you can fuck me.
No. No. Please, let's just calm down. Let's take it easy. At least, please go and let me relieve myself.
What do you believe?
I think I'm gonna shit my pants. Please.
You can shit after we have sex.
I really don't think that this is an option. Please, these things I can't control.
And where are you going with her?
I'm not going anywhere. I'm being abducted.
Alright, come this way.
Holy shit! What are you? What kind of hole did you fall?
Love your jokes. I love your jokes. Let's go.
No.
I'm the uglier woman here, so I'm gonna cut the Come on.
No,
You
okay.
see this pussy here? It's wetter than yours. I got
Listen, ladies. You rip me in half. Let's just sit down. Let's just talk about this, nice and calm. Let's just sit down. Let's just be nice and relaxed. There's no need to do anything, right?
months ago, I certainly cleaned the place up. I have no complaints. My life has never been better. My dick has never been wetter. And my stamina has never been longer. All at the ripe old age of 70. I say, why not offer an invitation to everyone? Show hospitality rich to the old men, the young men, and even little boys. Dinner is prepared and waiting for everyone, at least in their own homes. And by dinner, I mean dessert. And that's enough chit-chat. Now that I think of dessert, it's all that comes to mind. I'd say it's about time to go feast. Come, daddies.
Restringenti la gente forti hanno comando tutto qui sta. Restringenti la gente forti hanno comando tutto qui sta. Quella nessuno sa.
To this wonderful performance, and in that capacity I would like to first of all thank everybody who was involved, and then invite you to a little artist talk and a little reception afterwards. So I'm going to read everybody's name, and maybe people can nod so we know who's who, for those of us who don't know who's who. So the cast: Anya Flanagan, we also wanted to acknowledge those people who contributed to the play at some point or other. That's Oceane Fry. No, she's not here. No. Melania Damjanovic. Incredible performances, but also a tremendous gift. So thank you, Maria, for bringing back. To love us and to love here also. Yes. So I guess now it's an opportunity for Q&A and perhaps reflections and questions about the play, but also how does one translate something so ancient into contemporary environment.
Oh, is that a question?
Well, I'm just, it's an invitation. I don't need to, yeah.
I suppose I'll jump in with the first answer. There was at the beginning we were sort of told to learn our lines, and we found that they were, or at least the more we practiced the scenes, we found that they were quite sort of stagnant, not really that interesting, because we had this theory that it might have been translated more to read rather than to perform. And so a lot of the scenes, I don't know if you've noticed, were changed to more kind of improv scenes. You have a basic understanding of what goes on in the scene, and then you just kind of roll with it. So that was a large part of the performance, and so that's how we kind of made it a bit more digestible as a text.
Are the dances some sort of adaptation of antistrophe and trophy, or no?
I have no clue who that is.
Well, no, the chorus. It's just
The chorus. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's what you meant.
oh, the chorus. Oh, yeah, that is a chorus because it takes. It was an aesthetic decision, but also a decision because it takes, if it's not done nicely with people standing and saying their lines in a synchronized manner, which is what a chorus usually is in a Greek play, then it looks really bad. Then somebody's saying some line and somebody's, it's very off. So I just thought we would have a voiceover rather than people, because it takes quite a long hours of practice, and two people wouldn't even have looked as impressive for the kind of chorus. Yeah, so it was a chorus. But for this play also, Aristophanes has not written very long chorus pieces, and so we could experiment with this idea. Yeah.
When was that play written?
Good question.
Yeah, when was it? Ava, would you like to answer that question?
I think it's one of his last, so I think it's after Socrates was killed,
Yeah.
sometime in 300 BC. But obviously so for me that was interesting, what you decided to modernize and what you decided to keep, so you stuck to the Athenian names religiously. But then you experimented with the rap and...
Well, we kept the Athenian names because I thought so much about it, and I thought if we go to pick up modern references from American politics, then it's not universal. Then we're just, for example, if I start making fun of Kelly and Conway, then not everybody can relate to that. So I thought, Neocleides is just remote, distant, it's universal. It's the same for my mother, who doesn't know anything about Greek comedy, and the same for people who studied it. So it has that universality, whereas if we go and specifically modernize give it a certain context, then it becomes very interesting for people who know that context. But outside of it, I don't know. I have seen in Britain they make very English productions of Greek plays. And then it's just such English comedy that people outside of it are just lost to it. So that was the intention of keeping most of the Greek names. I don't know if it worked or...
I think also in terms of universality, sex jokes are universal. Everybody gets sex jokes. And so, on one hand, there's the fact that this text was meant to be a part of a canon or part of academia. and then it's difficult to kind of translate that into performance. But everybody will always get a sex joke, and this play is a comedy at its root and at its core. And so I think in terms of keeping those Greek names and modernizing the language in a way that's easily understandable and readable and laughable, I think continues to keep the integrity of the work.
I don't know. Any other question?
I'm just kind of curious about the rehearsals. I've rehearsed with Maria Klein before, so it was a lot of fun. And I just in particular, like with the rap scene and all of those, like was there a lot, like was it like fun as well, and also within.
No, I can speak. So we were rehearsing with the text because I'm very conservative, and you know that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, we have to memorize this whole thing. And on the 1st of December, they showed up for rehearsals, this last scene, and they were dead. It was so boring, and they had no lines, and they were just, it was like deadpans. And I said, what are we going to do? I mean, I can't let this happen. And I said, okay, just give up your text and let's do an improv, so you'll get into character. And when they did an improv, it was like, they came alive. And then I said, we're just going to do an improv of this last bit, because the idea, if you read the play, then Aristophanes is doing this banter between women, and it is a Greek version of a hip-hop. They are singing songs and they are insulting each other, and those insults are very similar about the sexual organs, and so it's nothing sophisticated, but we just made it our own. We've done improvs, and improvs are always amazing because people get the essence of what the real text is, and then it's just amazing,
It's a much more like a Neoplatonic way to interpret like an old text. Try to like just restructure it.
With the neighbor and leprous, a couple of rehearsals we did in 2 different languages, so Hungarian English, and then afterwards we switched. But at that point, when we were doing it in 2 different languages, we got the feel of the scene already, and then we moved back to the text. So there's a lot of that kind of experimentation. Well, I don't know why you think that Aristophanes wrote for academia. He wrote for the stage, and one reason why, as you said, it's so full of universal jokes that is very low level. Humorous. It's precisely because he was trying to be relatable.
I think that's precisely the point, and I think that's why there's something effective to the modernizing of the language. And I didn't say that he had written this for academia. I said this particular translation may have been written for academia, which I think is a little difficult to put on the stage.
Sure. Yeah, in that sense, it requires that improvised reinterpretation.
Also, there's no stage direction.
Yeah.
So, part of, from what I understand, it's like
Probably there's nothing that has come down to us as that, so it's like a huge leeway to rewrite.
Mostly it's just, they always had, over what I've learned, is there is a circular, not a proscenium stage, and it's mostly people standing and saying lines. But that's the tradition of the Greek theater, but it's, we tried to do something similar with this Rome. But there are absolutely no, maybe they haven't been sent down, but I don't think that he would have thought of stage directions as well. Because the stage was, from what I think, used to be very flat land and where people could be addressed. It was something like that. I don't know. How would I know? I wasn't there.
Neither was I.
Well, I'm not sure about you. But you were very much. You were made for this role. We had so much fun. I think I speak for myself, but I don't know about the cast. But we really enjoyed a lot. It was good laughs all the time.
No. No, Maria made like a really conscious effort this year to be much nicer to the cast.
Wow.
I noticed it. And people were still getting insulted. I could never handle.
I support this claim.
Yeah.
No, I tried.
I don't know anything. I don't know anything about the play. I also don't know anything about how would this have been perceived in its time? I mean, were women part of the audience, and was there would women then sort of think, hey, this is interesting, what's going on, or would they just see it as a joke, or I'm just fascinated by it.
Yeah, and that's interesting because from what I know, it's the men who are playing the women parts as well. But I wonder, I never thought about a female reception of this, I don't know, but he has written very intelligently in a sense that Praxagora is very mindful. So it's a man writing a male part who is aware, who is then writing or thinking about how men will perceive her. So there was always that she's very mindful in her speeches. She's saying things which will appeal to men. You know, women like being fucked, women are deceptive, but it's something that only a man can say, but when she's playing. And it was interesting because he has that awareness of who she is as a woman, but who she would be when she becomes a man, but it's a man writing. I don't know what about the audience. I would be surprised.
But women would be allowed to go, or women would be in the audience.
Everybody would be in the audience.
Mixed.
Everybody, including slaves, and even according to some accounts, including criminals would get a day off from prison. To be, so it was like, it's unthinkable what kind of common community event it was this kind of festival. So that's why personal jokes could actually work, because the people are sitting in the audience and they'll be directly insulted. Right? From the stage. You tried this only on Brian, but you could have tried it a little more, right? Right? So that could be one way of translating to your audience, right? Take the college community and go with it.
There was a reference of Dr. Reckley.
We had to bring it back too much. We made fun of people too much, and like we started getting worried that people would get their feelings hurt, and we
They're always
decided to play
like
it safe.
censoring me. Whenever I would suggest a joke, they're like, oh no, Maria, are you taking responsibility for this? And then, I don't want to be in the front of this, making fun of the whole administration. But we tried. I mean, there were some jokes which they weren't comfortable even now. So we made a joke about gays, and they weren't. But I took the chance because I thought it's comedy and it's fine. And then I said, I'm leaving, you can just put it on me. And then Fiona said, you can put it on me. And then
all emails can come to Fiona.Brackley.
But I don't think it's just humor. But again, if we direct it into the college community, then we will have to change a lot of context. We can't be in Athens and all of that. So. I don't know. I feel like I'm holding people back.
But I very much, sorry. I very much like what you said earlier on about sort of keeping it in the time, and by doing that it becomes much more universal and much more zeitgemäß for every other time. Actually today in the FAZ there was a write-up of an opera or theater. I think it was an opera performed in Antwerp, I remember. And it was sort of the same comment was made by the journalist, that the opera was sort of very much kept in its own sort of time, and that gave it such incredible power, because very often these adaptations and sort of the local jokes, exactly what you mentioned, that sort of then becomes a bit of a sort of like a comedy or like an imitation of something, and that you really can lose that strength that the original piece has. It's fun to read it and then see what you did. Yeah.
So you had a question?
Yeah, I just had a question about the last scene. So I was from the direction of the play, I was expecting something either quite catastrophic or something utopian toward the end. And then the last scene just seemed to me a bit ambiguous. I wasn't really sure. How did you guys read that? What was the...
Well, I read it as if this works, but not quite. You know, Praxagora's project would work, but not quite work. I mean, this is my understanding of where Aristophanes always shows, okay, so if you go all the way with this, and this is what's going to happen, that, you know, then sex would become something like this, and then women are running after men, and, you know, it is a bit chaotic. And this was my reading, that feminism works, but it doesn't. But it's a bit dangerous statement.
I just didn't understand why. It was interesting that it was ending with Praxagora's husband instead of with Praxagora.
Yeah, so what happens is that we've shortened that scene. So what happens is that the slaves come and they say, oh, you know, our master is so happy. It's really a scene about servants, and they come and they say, oh, our master is so happy. Now he's on a let loose, he's fucking around, and what could be better for him? And then he comes in and he says, you know, it's just worked out so well. But one of the interpretation was that these men were so good for nothing that they were just waiting for women to come and take charge. That was one, but I just read it a couple of days ago, that one way of looking at it was that Kremes gives in immediately. He's like, oh, okay, just, you know, it's fine, these women you should have faith in this. But my understanding is that it's a win-win, it sort of is a win-win situation for men anyways. You know, it's sort of like feminism works, but they don't get to have, like, the women couldn't really bring them down, so to speak. But maybe her intention was not to do that.
But Leprous is a privileged man. He's not any guy. He's the husband of the general. Yeah. Right? So, I mean, he wants to be he's in the new elite.
Here we see the non-privileged man too. So it seems like this is what happens. So in the first part of the, well, this is how it seems to me that the first part of the play is mostly how women rise to power, and how they implement this new system, and then we let them go, and Praxagora doesn't even appear in the last I don't know how many scenes, and we just see how it worked out with different people, and this is why I remember the fourth course when we were. I think Paulina remembers that when we kept asking them, okay, but how does it end? What's the end? And there's no particular dramatic end to it. We just like take a look at, okay, how did it affect poor youth? How did it affect Lepirus? How it affected different people?
It also ends on the longest word in all of the Greek corpus. Right? Aristophanes being this famous innovator, it ends with this 5-liner word, which is a description of a court, of some kind of menu, which I guess is untranslatable. There is an attempt to translate that, but
in Greek.
Yeah, that's what the Greek is saying. But,
yeah. I don't know. I mean, I feel like they also hinted at it with like an earlier line in the play when he references like the old saying they have in Athens about things always working out best. And then like in the end you see like it worked out best. And then it was just like, well, there's a conclusion. It's like it just worked out best. I don't know. And I mean like as far as catastrophe goes, like there's plenty of catastrophe in like other parts of the play. Like in the play and then just like the performance of the play.
So did you plan the staging with this seating arrangement in mind?
Yeah. It was a risk. I wasn't sure because I'm used to doing this, but we just last year I didn't like the fight. I mean, last year we did clouds for people who are not,
and we had people sitting, it was a proscenium, and people were sitting in front, and we were having entrances and exits, and you know, the same. But I just thought we can experiment with more, it's more like folk. I had that sense of talking to more people, and you know, in villages you have theater like that, where people would just go and start telling stories, and then you just keep walking, and then everybody's involved. And I wanted to create that sense, because for this room, that works better than having a proscenium stage, because we don't have that. So,
Well, I think it makes a big difference. I mean, in addition to being closer to Greek staging as opposed to modern staging of the proscenium, like in terms of the performance itself, I mean, especially with the dance in mind, the circular character of the movement really comes out in this format in a different way than if you're sitting back and looking at the stage. And also I'm thinking about the sense of community, because all of us see the other audience members across from us and see their reactions, which seems important for comedy also. The audience is more a part of it. So I think it works very well.
But it also takes advantage of this wonderful axis here, and so it was also this fashion show, right? Yeah, it's quite an inspired choice.
Yeah, I think that in the round seating can definitely add a layer of like awkwardness. Like after a joke, you have to look over, who's laughing, or did you like that? Was that weird? And that awkwardness is like another layer of comedy that like is just totally gorgeous.
I mean, in terms of intimacy with the audience as well, there's definitely, you know, you can, in a lot of other performances I've been in, you're kind of blinded, you don't really see the audience at all, so it's pretty much like acting to nothing. And there just happens to be an audience behind these blinding lights. Whereas this, you know, it's a little intimidating to look your audience directly in the eyes and make some really crass joke. But I mean, it's fun. You know, it's there's an element to it that's nice. It's a bit more interactive, and you can kind of feed off of your audience a bit more, which is nice.
I think it's so cool. Like when I do it, like I feel like I'm like one of like those statues we go see Jeff at the museum. Renaissance course.
What do you mean we're seeing the statue from all around?
Like it's just like 3D, you can like see it from all around, and like it's great. And at some rehearsals, Jonah used to wear like leggings, like spandex, so he was really pulling off like the sculpture look. My favorite rehearsal.
So John, did you grow your beard for the occasion? Or?
Yeah, like last year, right before I took a leave of absence, Maria was like, hey.
No, this is a real success. Show them your tattoos.
Oh.
They're
so far away.
We did clouds, and then this inspired him to.
That's not what inspired
me.
Of course. It inspired me.
He has Socrates on his arm.
Oh. Look, on this arm it's Plato, and on the other arm it's Socrates.
And you know, it's just amazing. Come on, John, it's okay.
It was all because of Maria. And right above the Socrates, like, it says I love you, and that's actually Maria's signature right there. That's my mother's, it's really Maria's. It's like a little secret of mine.
So shall we thank our crew again?